Hey guys, it's Cool Night, and I'm with my dad, and today is Raising the Gamer.
Oh yeah, we got a special episode for you. Dig it! Yeah!
So today we are doing
WCW versus NWO Revenge.
Okay, this game is a wrestling game. It's fun to play, and we are telling some memories.
Yeah, so WCW versus NWO Revenge was actually not the first wrestling game, Cool Night, believe it or not, that I played.
Yeah.
One of the first ones, and one that I'm going to talk about because it leads into this, is this game called, and sorry, the cart here is very much old and worn, WCW, sorry, I'm cutting off your head there, WCW versus NWO World Tour. I think it's got Hulk Hogan, and you can't see over here, but it's got a wrestler named The Giant on the cover. Now, WCW versus NWO World Tour came out when I was in high school. And I got it as a Christmas gift from my mom and dad. But my brother and I, we knew it was coming. And we were a little bit sneaky. Don't you ever do this. Okay? But what happened was, one year we got out a razor blade. Do you know what a razor blade is, Cool Night?
Yeah.
Okay? We got out a razor blade and we saw the Christmas package. And we decided to use a razor blade to cut the tape so we could unfold real carefully the wrapping, and we pulled out the game. And guess what?
What?
We played that game for about 3 nights before Christmas. Okay? So we played WCW versus NWO World Tour all night long for about 3 nights. Myself, my brother, and my brother's best friend, Steve. And WCW versus NWO World Tour, as you go through the game, you unlock more wrestlers. So by the time we got it on Christmas morning, almost all the wrestlers had been unlocked. We had been playing that game a ton. Okay? And a couple of years later, they came out with WCW versus NWO Revenge. Okay? Now this title improved a lot on WCW versus NWO World Tour. We were playing World Tour earlier, and you didn't really care for it, did you?
Yeah.
Why didn't you like it?
Well, what I didn't like about it is it's old. It's like more pentagon-y.
Pixelated, maybe?
Yeah, pixelated.
Yeah?
The music,
Maybe the polygons are blockier?
the
So the
music.
guy's elbows don't really look smooth. They look kind of like sharp, jagged edges.
Well, yeah, and like the music is okay. It's not really bad. The pick up and play is really easy.
Okay. But now, you were kind of getting bored with World Tour, but now when we started playing Revenge, one of the ways that I can tell if you like a game is you were jumping up and down as you were playing it. You were holding that controller and you started standing up and jumping up and down. I always know when you are really getting into a game because
Well, I wasn't jumping up and down.
You did it a little bit. You were hopping around a little bit. You didn't do it as much as you did some games, but you were starting to get really into it. Tell us who you were playing with. Who's the wrestler?
Sting.
Sting. Is that your favorite wrestler to play with?
Yeah,
How come?
because he gets a bat sometimes in the first, and he's really strong. He has really good stuff to use, and this like thing that he does is really cool.
His moves?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were doing the sharpshooter was a move, and you were wrestling against another one of my favorites, Macho Man Randy Savage. Ooh, yeah. So you were putting him in the sharpshooter, and how did you win? Did you pin him?
Yeah.
No, you didn't pin him.
No.
Remember,
well,
what did he do?
I don't remember.
Remember, you put him in the sharpshooter a whole bunch, and then eventually he went pop, 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 pop against the mat.
know.
He tapped out. Okay, so you made him tap out. One of the things that is really good about these games is the pick up and play, like we mentioned. They are really easy to just start playing, and after a few minutes to really know what you're doing. So Cool Night here has the controller. Basically, the A button, let's see if I can point it correctly. The A button, I believe, is your grapple button. So you press A and then any direction, and then It does a different move. It does a grapple move.
B is kind of the same thing and does a different move. And then
Well, B does your punch and kick.
yeah.
So it's really easy. One button punches and kicks, another button grapples. And then you can make it more diverse by, pressing, a grapple and up, grapple and down, grapple and left, grapple and right, and they all do different moves, right?
Yeah.
And depending if guys are on the mat, if they're standing up, if you stand behind them, they'll all do different moves. So there's tons of different moves you can do, but yeah, it's really easy. Even if you want to just button mash, we played this, a long time ago with your sister, and she was beating me just by smashing on the buttons. So there's not necessarily a whole lot of strategy involved in these.
Yes.
But it's really easy to, within a few minutes, if you have friends over, to teach them how to play the game.
Yep.
Okay, Cool Knight. Is this a game that you would play again?
A few times, not a lot.
Not a lot. For me, it definitely is, and it's one that we have played over the last little bit. It's one maybe that we don't play for hours on end all the time, but it's really good to pop in the cartridge, play a few matches, and then come back to it later. So what is your overall grade for WCW versus NWO Revenge?
A B.
A B. Okay, that's a good grade. As far as a parent's perspective, yes, this is a wrestling game. Yes, there is violence in the way of punching and kicking. There is blood. Yep, if you beat on an opponent enough, eventually they're going to bust out in their forehead and start bleeding.
Or on their chest.
Now, this is Nintendo 64 graphics, so it's not going to be overly gory. So there's that. There's not really any language or anything. The game is rated, if you can see that, E for everyone.
And then this one is KA.
Kids to adults. So yeah, I think they just changed the rating system from one to the other, but they're basically a lot the same. You can find these games pretty cheap, especially WCW vs. NWO World Tour, the first one. I picked my copy up for about $2 at a used video game store. You can find these yard sales or eBay. Probably, I would say for WCW vs. NWO Revenge, you're probably looking in the $10 range for it. So it's not overly expensive. There are quite a few wrestling games on the Nintendo 64 and definitely a lot of wrestling games on all systems. But I would say for the one we reviewed today, WCW vs. NWO Revenge, if it's something you're interested in, it's probably going to cost you about $10. Okay, my overall grade for this, I'm going to say B+. I still really enjoy it. It's not one that I'm going to put, a bunch of hours into a week, but it's one when I'm in the right mood for something that's arcadey, that's quick and easy. I'm going to pop this in and I'm going to play it. So that's it for this week, Cool Knight. Great video, and until next time, guys.
See ya. Bye.
See you later.
Bye.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.